What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some major news going on here for you guys in this video. Let's jump right in. Thanks for liking and sharing these videos. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. I'm keeping you up to date here with everything. Check this out. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says the U.S. is directly at war with Moscow, as the White House continues to pledge weapons for Ukraine. This is very concerning because Russia can use this to say that they are officially in World War III with the US. Okay, so keep this in mind here, and they can. This could be very problematic. Here is what he says. According to Russian officials, the United States' continued support for Ukraine puts the country directly at war with Moscow. Directly at war. You can call this whatever you want to call this, but they are directly at war with us. We can call this a hybrid war, but that doesn't change the reality. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Saturday, after being asked by a journalist when the U.S. will be considered to be directly involved in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, as opposed to being engaged in a proxy war. He added, quote, "They are effectively engaged in hostilities with us, using the Ukrainians as fodder." Now, well, I'll get to this here in a second. Representatives for the United States Department of Defense, Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, and the government of the Russian Federation did not immediately respond to requests for the comments of the insider. The U.S. has pledged over $100 billion in aid package for Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion began last year, including more than $43.8 billion in security packages, including equipment such as howitzers, artillery, Stinger anti-aircraft systems, and Abrams tanks, which are arriving just about now. Earlier this month, the Biden administration announced an additional aid of $600 million to be sent to Ukraine's front lines, including resupplies of HIMARS ammunition and, for the first time, depleted uranium tank rounds, Insider previously reported. While the U.S. continued support for Ukraine has faced political backlash, mainly from Republican members of Congress, the U.S. has redoubled its effort to support Ukraine earlier this month by ordering increased production for crucial artillery, which they really need. Even not just Ukraine, but the U.S. needs to increase production of everything. Ukrainian troops struggle to keep up with Russia's war machine. In addition to the extensive aid packages, the U.S. has implemented sanctions against nearly 100 Russian elites, as well as pretty much the whole country, and has reshaped Russia's economic ties with the world and sent the ruble's value plummeting. Now, in response to Russia's comments, Russia's always going to, shape the comment towards their liking, that the U.S. is using Ukraine as fodder. Remember that Russia invaded Ukraine and started attacking Ukrainians in their own country. You have to remember exactly how this happened. Russia invaded Ukrainians, started attacking Ukrainians. So just keep this in mind, that the Ukrainians were fodder for Russia's tanks and Russia's guns, not the other way around. Okay? So because the US and Europe and the UK and all the, Germany and all the European countries helped Ukraine defend themselves, for Russia to say that this is the US's war because the US and Europe are helping Ukraine defend themselves is really, really a stretch for Russia to say that. Now, for Russia to say that they're directly at war with the US, that is a slightly different story. But for Russia to say that this is the US's war and they're using Ukrainians as fodder is a very different statement. Because remember, Russia took it upon themselves to invade another country, try to take over that country, to take over their land, take over their resources, take over their oil, take over their people, and to never give it back. Remember this. So they didn't do this out of the kindness of their heart. And they also did this previously with Crimea. If Crimea hadn't gone so easily back in 2014 and the world hadn't let it happen, then this probably wouldn't have gone so easily as well. In fact, the world probably made a mistake, a huge mistake, by letting Russia just have Crimea. The problem was that Crimea was such a smaller portion and it happened so quickly that by the time the world had any chance to step in and help, it was over. Ukraine was a much bigger country, 45 million people to start. Several million women and children fled. 40 million people really left over to help fight against Russia. Russia didn't really, it didn't go as planned for Putin and his war machine. Okay. Russia thought that they would maybe go in there and they would just lay down and say, "We surrender. Russia, your army is so great. We're not even going to fight back." Or, "Wow, Russia, we're so intimidated by you that how could we ever fight back?" Here we are a year and a half later, and Russia only has a sliver of the eastern portion of Ukraine, and there's literally like 90% of the rest of the country left. They're nowhere even close to taking over all of Ukraine. So anybody that says, "Oh, all of Ukraine is going to fall," take a look at this map here. Okay, this is directly from the BBC, which is, from Europe. They're pretty neutral and they've been covering this from the start of the war. This map here is before the invasion. This is from March 2022, Russia's rapid advance when they had the element of surprise. They took over a large portion of Ukraine. Okay, you can see here they actually, advanced towards Kyiv. Remember the large tanks. Didn't quite make it into the heart of Kyiv, but close, and got stopped. Then you can see all the red here. This is Crimea down here, right? And you can see all the red portions that Russia kind of took over. All of the white here is the rest of Ukraine, okay? That was March 2022, okay? Now you can see here, remember all this red that they had here. Look at all that they've lost here, okay? The red portion is what Russia controls, okay? You can see what they've lost now, right? This is November 2022 here in this, and this is September 2023. So they have now lost even more ground with Ukraine's advances, okay? So look at the purple here is now held or regained by Ukraine. So you can see here that Russia has actually lost more ground, including they're fighting around Bakhmut now, okay? So you can see the areas around Bakhmut. Bakhmut, I believe, is still held by Russia, but that is going to be a very hard area to regain because it's just a heavily fortified area. But the areas right up to Bakhmut here, but you can see this is the area held by Russia, but they have lost now these purple areas by let's see if I could scroll up just a little bit here. Yeah, so I zoomed out a little bit. This is probably the best view that you can get here. But you can see Russia's been losing a lot of ground, especially since what they had back in March of 2022. Look at all this ground that they had, and look at all this ground they have now. They have lost, I mean, I don't know. That's a significant portion. Half of the ground that they had, maybe. Yeah. So, and now they've lost these two big sections here as they're being pushed back further and further to the east, closer and closer to Russia. Yeah, so it does kind of make you wonder what could happen here going forward. Yeah, now don't get me wrong. I think that Russia's going to continue to pile in more troops as they get more ammo from North Korea, even potentially more troops from North Korea. Don't forget that they also extended their draft age up to age 30. Don't forget that Russia basically drafts men against their will from age 18 to age 30. So if you're basically born in Russia and don't even sign up for the army, that they'll draft you into their army. So yeah, this is why men actually try to flee Russia and leave. Families try to leave Russia. They actually try to prevent you from leaving Russia, because if you don't want to fight in the war and you don't want to potentially die, people try to leave the country, and Russia actually tries to prevent you from doing that because they just want to send you out there to the front lines. And it's just like you either go there, die, or fight in the war. And it's like a lot of people don't want to do that, right? I mean, just think about this. Be a realist. So it's like you either believe in the cause or you don't. Yeah. So, and meanwhile, Russia's saying, hey, this could be a decade-long war. We're not giving up. We're staying there until we get the land. And Ukraine's like, we're not giving them the land. So buckle up because it's going to be a tough situation here. Meanwhile, Russia's threatening nukes. I'll link you to my video where they just readied 3,000 nuclear troops. Yeah, so if you haven't yet, subscribe down below, click the bell icon. I'll link you to that video now. Thanks for liking and sharing these videos. You can click here to watch my newest video on Russia readying 3,000 nuclear troops. Absolutely wild. Or you can click here to see my interview with Colonel Tony Shaffer. Really good video there. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.